All right, here we go. It's another edition of Gamble & Fin, Larger Than Live. It's Monday night, 7 o'clock, and that's what that means.
Exactly
How was your
right.
dinner, Fred, before we get rolling? Was
I
it
would tell you
good?
this, my dinner was far more filling than yours.
Because mine was outstanding, had I gotten any.
It was outstanding somewhere in a parking lot instead of in the bag where it belonged.
Well, one thing, if you've ever watched the show, you know kind of what we're about. If you haven't, we're going to show you right here and now. We call them like we see them. Burlington Wendy's, you suck. I'm still waiting for my chili. It wasn't here, and because I didn't get it, I didn't eat your damn nuggets.
That's the thing. He got the nuggets.
I did, and I
he
said
refused
no,
refusal.
refusal.
To eat them on principle, and there needs to be more of that sort of thinking
You're
these
right.
days instead of less of it. If people would stick to their guns and stick to their principles, then
Yes.
maybe things would get better.
Lots to get to. Gamble,
Wait, that's
he's
not
Finn.
it? That's
No,
not topic
we're
A?
going to get back into that a little later. But don't forget, we do this each and every Monday. We encourage you to like, to share. It's Gamble, capital N, Finn. That's our Facebook page. You know that because you're on
You're
it. But
looking at
don't
it,
forget,
right?
subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. We're also on Thursday nights, 9 to midnight, the reality check each week. We're only going to miss a couple, I think. There's one later in the month because the Reds are back. I think that's July 30th. And then don't say anything about preseason football yet
Not
because
just
there
yet,
are some
yeah.
on Thursday nights, but we may make those. But we got lots to get to tonight. Some of our usual segments. We're going to wing it a little later. We've got our show and tell with a little catchy little graphic and intro.
Tell you what, man,
Our
this-
crack staff.
This show's
Yes.
getting a little too fancy for me.
I know it is. But it's a big day for you. Well, not... Well, it is.
No, it is.
No, it is
It absolutely
on the
is.
back end. But for your daughter, it's even bigger.
Yeah, today is Minnie Finn's 18th birthday, so
Yeah.
happy birthday. We got to spend
How
a
about
good
that?
portion of the afternoon together, and it was funny because in order to guarantee that I get to see her on her birthday, I always have to have that one fish hook gift
Sure.
so that I know she wants it so badly that even if she has other plans, I know I'm going to get. No, I'm just kidding. She's a good kid, but she can now. We spent a few hours together before the show, and it was great. And I tell you, waiting for your child to turn 18, it seems like 1 through 17 flies by, and then 17 to 18, it seems like it has taken 10 years to go that extra year. Now I know you got one left to get to that.
To get to 18,
To
yes,
get to
you're correct.
18,
Well,
but,
I've got just so, my oldest will turn 22 on Saturday.
Okay.
And then Tuesday, the middle is 20, and then next month, the youngest will be 15.
Yep.
So we've got it's either 2 in July and 1 in August.
Well, and Calvin turns 1 year old here
Already?
in, just a couple days on the 17th.
How about that?
Well, that's what they told us. He's a rescue, so they're not
right.
They
You don't
estimate his-
officially know.
Yeah, but we're going to go ahead and call it the 17th. So Calvin will be 1 year old.
All right,
on
well,
the 17th.
good for you and Calvin. We'll get our dog in the year 2023.
gonna say, how old
This
is-
is the most ludicrous process I've ever seen. There's some alleged breeder that we sent a deposit to. I hope she's enjoying her vacation because the whole thing is nonsense. And I'm getting irritated, and I may call the Better Business Bureau.
Well, let me tell you
What the
something.
hell's going on
So
here?
much of what I wanted to talk
Oh, my
about that I was
God.
thinking about when
Yes.
I was on my way over here and throughout the afternoon today. You hit the nail right on the head. Irritation. Because we can talk about COVID all we want. We
Really?
can talk about all the great strides that have been made in changing Native American names at schools, thanks to George
Right.
Floyd, which somehow the disconnect
And
there
with professional teams.
just in general, but
Today.
couldn't be a further disconnect between the two issues. One of which no progress has been made, and one. Decades worth of controversy is now being settled over
Right.
something that would appear not to be the least
Right.
bit connected. We could talk about that all day long. We could talk about just the frustration that, again, with the COVID thing and the testing and the numbers that are coming out and the fact that you go and take a test but you can't get your results for 6 or 7 days now.
Oh, yeah, you can. You can actually get your results when you haven't even been tested.
Oh, well, that's true,
Two
too.
people told
That's
me this,
true.
including
Yeah.
one guy is a good friend of mine, somebody he worked with, went to a testing site, and something, I don't know whether his name wouldn't match, whatever, there was a digit missing.
Right.
So he was unable to take the test, turned around, went back home, and a couple days later they called him to tell him he was positive. And he said,
That's
well,
impossible.
that's outstanding because I didn't even have the test.
Well, and that does make you wonder where you're hearing all these other numbers because, over the what was the one statistic that I told you? Oh, in the first 5 days of July, 250,000 positive
Right.
tests. And I'm thinking, really? When you can't find the tests, it's a holiday weekend. And you're going to tell me that
Right.
250,000 positive over those first 5 days, and then then it just all backpedals. It's just so frustrating. But I feel like it's Groundhog Day. All we do is say the same thing every week.
Well, you don't,
but it never changes.
You don't feel like it's Groundhog Day. It is. I saw this advertisement the other day, WGN, which is a superstation emanating from Chicago. I never thought I'd see the day when this was presented. They apparently have a new newscast that's coming where it was just a promo for it, national news, and it said, "We will give you the news, not opinion." And I thought, that is truly a picture of where we are today.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, I'm somebody who was grounded in journalism where, you were a reporter. You presented the facts. Unless you were a columnist back in the print internet business, you didn't give an opinion. You just presented the news as is. And I can't even watch a lot of the newscasts today because they're a disgrace.
Well, there's a meme that I saw not long ago, and I'll tell you what a meme is later. But it
what?
was something it said.
Is it a mean?
It's a meme.
I know what a meme
I'm just
is,
kidding.
smart
I used
ass.
to always think it was a meme, M-E-M-E,
Right, well,
like French.
Don't
as
ask
in-
me to spell it,
As
though.
in the same, because I thought it was like the meme shows is
Makes
French
sense.
for the same
Okay.
thing. So I thought it was meme because it was the same picture and people were just doing whatever. Nevertheless, that was my 4 years of high school French kicking in right there.
Good job.
And I was wrong. But there was one that said, "Remember when," and it was two pictures. It was like an old school picture of Walter Cronkite. And it said, "Remember when something would happen and the news would tell you about it and you decided how you felt about it."
Yeah.
Versus now,
Yeah, right.
where the news tells you what to think about something and
Well,
then you have to determine whether or not it actually happened.
Well, whether it actually happened or whether you actually believe the slant that, depending on what station you're watching, is putting on it.
I'll give you a great example. And I've tried to instill this in my daughter. She tends to be a little more liberal leaning for lots of different reasons. But I think that when you're younger,
really?
that tends to be the case. You spend your entire early life gathering things and trying to go out and have opportunity and get things and gather. And then you spend the back half of your life protecting the shit you got. So you become a little bit more conservative. I think that's just a natural cycle. There's a lot of things that, right now are being fought for that alleged liberals you think they'd be more about, but they don't seem to want to fight for that. Or conservatives, all of a sudden now the my body, my choice thing has become, I mean, it's just everything is politicized. But the one thing that I try to get her to do is look at both sides and then figure out where in the middle the truth lies.
Makes sense.
One book, I don't know if you remember, there was a book called Bias. And I think it was Bernard Goldberg. He used to work for CBS News.
Yep, I recognize the name.
And he wrote a book. It was a scathing book about him basically realizing he was being brainwashed at a liberal news source, which was CBS. And he comes out and he writes this book. And I'm like, wow, it's pretty amazing that he would do that and come out. And I mean, he called people out and he talked about meetings and this and that. But then at the same time, he was presenting this, that's way too liberal. I went and I read Al Franken's book. I think it was called Lies and the Lying Liars That Lie About Them, or whatever, completely on the other side. And it was attacking Rush Limbaugh, and it was attacking this, and it was attacking and somewhere between the two is where I found my brain. And it's not because I'm a bullshit artist or I'm chicken to pick a side. I just don't think either one of those fringes is right. Nobody's always right.
I am.
Well, except for a couple of us.
Yeah, I am.
But no
question.
side is always
I
right.
get it.
So if you walk into a voting booth and just
correct.
go
that's
straight
why you
down the
can't-
line,
you
that's
can't do that.
irresponsible.
Right.
But
It is.
somewhere, and you again just use your brain and try to figure out what part of it makes sense to you. And if part of it doesn't make sense, look into it a little bit more. There's no law against that.
Well, and I love a lot of people who work at this station, but nonetheless, we tell them like we see them. And for the 9th year in a row, I believe Channel 5's weather has been voted the most accurate. Okay, well, I would tell you one of two things. One is, isn't that what you're supposed to be? I mean, you're not presenting weather forecasts that are alleged to be inaccurate. And secondarily, I'd want it independently certified, I believe is what the promo says. Really.
Well,
So
it's all relative.
I
too.
would bet you they're purchasing a service that none of the other stations do. I'm just guessing.
All right, well, let me
Not
ask
that
you
I have
this.
any inside information. Yes.
Let me ask you this then. Yeah, who's certifying? And this I always go back to this.
Where's
too.
the information? I want to see it posted up there on that promo spot so I can see it.
Look, I've been a big fan for years of, okay, you tell me, like, for instance, okay, we're going to use the money from the lottery to put into schools. We're going to go into schools, and yet there's school levies. Every single election, there's a new school levy. So what would be wrong was saying, okay, lottery commission.
Yeah.
I want to see what would have been back in the day a full-page ad.
Right.
And what is the Inquirer pamphlet that you're receiving. But I want a full one-page delineation every quarter about how much money was taken in, how much money was paid out, and how much money went to the schools and what districts. If you can break out the counties for COVID, you sure as shit ought to be able to break them out for how much money from the lottery or this, that, or the other thing, or the casinos.
You know what we can do? We can color code them.
Oh, there you go.
Who gets the most money? We can color code it. It's Gamble and Finisher. Larger Than Live, part of the weekly reality check. We do it each and every Monday at 7 o'clock. We talk until we can't talk anymore, until the iPad runs out of battery.
Or until we're both the color purple.
Well, that's true.
Which is coming soon.
Yes, it is. But we got lots of different things to get to tonight as soon as this bug would leave me alone.
Yeah.
But, all kinds of stuff. So, good birthday today? I mean, is it now? I know.
Yeah, she had. I think it was a good. I mean, in and of itself, this is a horrible year to be graduating high school.
Oh, no
and
question.
Turning 18.
It is. Well, it's a horrible year to be anything.
But do anything.
Really.
But this brought up something that I was going to ask you about.
Especially to order from Wendy's.
What a difference! One particular one, as a matter of fact. Oh, sorry, my spicy chicken sandwich is coming back.
Well, really, your dinner's bothering you?
Oh, man.
That's awful. You know what?
For a second, that was my Baconator.
Not gonna lie, hope you choke. Continue, please.
You know what? I'm getting a little bit of a backup taste of chili, and I didn't even order it.
Really? Right. Should probably put on your sandwich
No,
as a topping. Did I not tell you when they came back the order? I said this order will be blanked up, and it's everything. It's mine.
And it's going to be yours.
It is. Anyway, you were going to ask me a question.
No.
I
know what it was. What a difference a year makes. I was telling you that year between 17 and 18 for Minnie Finn has been. I mean, it seems like it's taken forever. And then with all of this going on, and her enthusiasm for going to school, which again is all still up in the air.
Right.
But what a difference a year makes. This time last year, I was in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Well, the prior week for the American Cornhole Organization World Championships in Vegas, came back, packed my bags, and went down to one of the Florida Keys. I don't remember which one. Longboat, is that a thing?
Longboat is a
that
key.
A key.
Yes, it is.
So
a key.
I went down there and then came back, and then all the wheels came off my entire world the day after I got back, and then it just turned into a complete and utter shit show. But a year ago, I was as more relaxed and having more fun than I think I could remember in a decade. And a year later, I'm looking around going, what is going on around the world?
Well, I can tell you my youngest, who was a freshman at Cooper High School last year, made at least the traveling varsity. They go to these Bluegrass State games or something. It's called something early in the season. He made, as a freshman, was going to go down with the varsity. Not long thereafter, stress fractures in his back. His season was over. And now think about this. I mean, in theory, he can't wait for this year. Hopefully they'll have fall sports, and I think it's leaning toward that, but nobody knows still. I mean, they keep deferring it. You can't kick the can down the road much farther than they already have. I mean, because you're almost, we're a couple weeks away from August, and who knows?
Well, and you see politically on a national scale, the Secretary of Education, who seems to be about as qualified to be that person.
Right. Well,
I would.
Are you really surprised?
Talking about forcing everybody to full-time school, you're going to have a serious revolt on.
Well, that's not going to happen
between faculty, staff, students, parents. I will tell you this: you can talk all you want about telling people what to do with their masks. You are not going to tell people they have got to be in a school building to do something if they don't feel like they want to do it. And all you're doing now is, again, forcing this division. And it's just, there's no end in sight on this, I don't think.
We've talked to Matt Miller, superintendent of Lakota Local Schools. We've heard from Mike Dardis of News 5 telling us about Mason schools. I know we live in the Boone County School District, and I've been told that in all three cases, anywhere from about 20 to 30 to 35% of people surveyed, and they're trying to do what they can do, surveyed has said they're not comfortable, right, wrong, or indifferent, with their kid going back to school in the fall. So, I mean, think about that. You're over essentially 25%. So 1 out of every 4, close to 1 out of every 3.
Well, and then
nobody has the answer.
You're going to have to figure out, because we were talking about that with sports as well. If a player gets sick, does the whole team have to stop for 14 days? So there's so many sliding scales. And again, as we talked about Thursday night on the LW show, there's no playbook for this whatsoever.
There isn't, and people need to remember that. And I would tell you that college football, I think, is done.
Yeah, I don't think
the Patriot League shut down again today. I think college football is going to be the most difficult. The NFL's getting more iffy. They're talking about now the players don't want to play preseason games. I think you're going to see Major League Baseball. We're T-minus less than 2 weeks. I think the NBA, the NHL, the MLS, we'll get to that. You can ask me a question about that. But I think all that's good. But it's weird without fans or the big race weekend at Kentucky Speedway. But the things that you can easily do, but the difference is, think about this. Soccer, NBA, 5-on-5 at a time. Still a contact sport. I mean, it is. Hockey, you're skating around. It's still a contact sport. But when you look at the NFL and probably 50 or so guys combined, if not more, on both sides play, and you're in piles on every play, that's what's so difficult.
Well, I would like to go back to something because I think you've grossly understated one particular sport. And this is the torture. And
soccer?
The oppression. No. And just the lack of consideration for the well-being and the general psyche and the tenderness of the NBA players in their hotel and their bad food. Those guys can gargle me. I'm so over all that prima donna nonsense. Oh, the food in our hotel is bad. Shut up.
Yeah.
Go away.
No, you're right.
Dry up. Piss off.
You don't like the NBA?
No, I don't like the NBA.
Okay, I would have never known.
I don't like what's
right.
coming out of the NBA from that standpoint either. You want to? I mean, you want to talk about no fans? It's not just no fans going to be in this. Well, the idiots that like a lot of that stuff, though, will go anyway because that's the sort of person that they idolize. A guy's still going to make millions of dollars to play a shortened season, get his own hotel suite or whatever, and then bitch about the food. If those are the people that are going to be your idol or they're going to be your role model or whatever, you need a life because that is pathetic.
Can we stay on sports for a
I'm
minute?
sorry, so sports. So let's move on because I know your favorite sport, soccer, especially with the local interest and the regional rivalry and conflict that is each year.
What is it?
Cincinnati and
Hell Week or something like that is what they call it. Well, they ought to call it. If you watch an FC Cincinnati match, it ought to be considered like hell for a couple hours anyway.
No, stop it.
Here's what I would tell you. No, here's I'm tired of this nonsense, and here's why. So let me get this straight. First of all, MLS, you got a bunch of wizards running your league. Get this straight. Cincinnati and Columbus, couple hours away in Ohio, Midwest. You're playing in Florida. That would be all East Coast time. Now, I get it. Down in Florida where it's warm, you have a match in the morning, then they do a doubleheader at night. So they were scheduled to play Saturday evening, Crew from Columbus, FC Cincinnati, at 10:30. You know what time the match? And I was actually going to watch because I got a new coach, got the 19th coach in like 3 years. They couldn't even get his photo right when they announced him. They had some youth coach photo there. They made some personnel change. But I'm thinking, you know what, man, new coach, new scheme. This is going to be awesome because they were dreadful last year. Well, apparently they're dreadful again. Apparently, new coach who I've heard be interviewed, and I even told somebody, I'm like, if they're expecting that dude to motivate, this team's in trouble. They got bludgeoned by the Crew 4-0, to make sure I get my terminology correct, which in soccer is probably like 66-3 in football.
No, it's not. See, that's where you're wrong.
Terrible.
That's where you're wrong. People say, I don't like soccer because you'll watch for 90 minutes.
Terrible.
You'll watch 90 whole minutes. Again, running clock, it takes
terrible.
2 hours to watch a full game, okay? Meanwhile, you sit and you watch an NFL game that takes sometimes 4 hours to watch, and baseball, which can sometimes take 11 hours.
Well, you know what I would tell you?
One game.
You know, if the Crew had won, they still would have won.
Let me tell you.
Score a goal.
Let me say this.
Yes.
If you're one of those people that says, I don't like soccer, even though it's over in 2 hours, because I'll watch the entire 90 minutes, and it'll only be 2-1. It'll only be 2-1. But you know what? In football, 14-3 is also 2-1.
Good defense.
It's 2-1.
It's actually it's actually 2.5.
No, it's 2-1. It's 2 scores to 1
Well, it's
score.
really a half because it's a field goal.
No,
here's what I would
it's
tell
not
you.
because it's still a score.
Here's
in
what
fact,
I would.
It's easier to get
here's
a
what I would
field
tell
goal
you.
score than it is a soccer goal.
So
that's 2-1.
All right, it's time though. They've been
Every
around.
goal in
They've been
soccer
around
should be
long
for
enough.
15 points.
Maybe they can't take this step. Maybe it's time to go back to the league that they were in.
I don't think that'll ever happen, though.
Well, of course it
so
will.
much hullabaloo was made to
Well, that's
get,
my
with all
point.
these phonies standing around with their scarves on down at Rheingeist the one night pretending they knew anything about soccer. All they knew about was balance sheets, whatever.
So McAllister,
they're not going back
he
the
was
other
even
way.
Lance was even giving me the, you got to give this new coach time. I'm like, come on, man. So they play again on
They've had
Thursday.
one game.
Doesn't
You
matter.
got to give them more than one.
It's a match,
game.
not a game. I've been
It
told.
is out on the
Somebody
pitch, not
told
the
me that.
field.
That's right, the pitch.
Yeah.
Well, they might want to work on some things on the pitch.
At least you got the nil correct.
I did. See,
It's
I
well
know.
done.
All right, I'm done with that now.
You're done.
I
All
feel
right.
better now.
You've had enough.
Yeah, but I mean, people are all over the Reds and the Bengals and that. I mean, no more pass here. You're in the big leagues now.
That's-
Act like it.
Yep. Act like you've been there before. Yep. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. And it's
I am excited about the Reds, though.
Yeah, I think, and like I said, how funny would it be? And I forget we were on the phone with. It might have been Dardis the other night, and this is just the kind of year where the Reds would win the World Series. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what? If they do, you don't have to. I'll tell you right now, though. You got the three hammers: Sonny Gray, Luis Castillo, Trevor Bauer. I mean, those are three legitimate aces at the top of your rotation. You've got three guys who, in theory, Suarez, assuming he's back healthy, Mike Moustakas, who's lost some weight, and Nick Castellanos. You got three guys who could be 30-plus home run guys. I mean, this could be a fun team to watch, even though you'll be watching it on TV, but that's okay.
It's all right. I don't
So
mind.
I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to hold this until not this Thursday, but the fall. We're on the night before they get the two exhibition games, Tuesday and Wednesday, and then they play opening night. Actually, is on Friday. So I have a question for you on Thursday, but we'll wait till the
So
23rd.
and you'll remember it. For
I will.
2 weeks.
It's simple.
You
It's
will
an-
hold
it's
this
a-
question. It's
an
not
e-
something I need to think about.
No, you don't need to think about this.
All
You just
right.
need to give me a yes or no.
All right.
I think even you can handle that.
All right, fair enough. Yes, I can handle a yes or no question.
You ready to wing it for a bit?
I would like to because I'm
Okay.
right now. The only other things that I want to talk about are just things that piss me off, and I want to be in a good mood
Oh, but
tonight.
wait now, but I've got another one that's going to make you kind
Oh,
of scratch
great.
your head because
All right, then.
I'm going to tell you after we wing it how if something occurs, I will never set foot ever in the city of Cincinnati again. Ever. If something occurs.
Really?
But we'll hold on that. So we're going to wing it. Here's the wing it for the night. So McAllister got me going on this. I heard him promo this. He contacted me and had me call into his show. He's on 700 WOW Sports Talk weeknights 6 to 9. He had me calling precisely at 8:35
Okay.
last week because he was talking about things when you were younger that you collected.
All right.
Did you ever collect anything?
Yeah, beer cans,
Okay.
Mad magazines.
Really?
I did,
Okay.
which I'd kill to have them all now.
What happened to it?
I think my mom pitched them.
That
when-
seems
when
to
I
be a
went away-
common thread of
when I
most
went away to
collectors.
school, I think it was
right.
just,
Okay.
um,
How many did you accumulate before they got heaved?
Probably, I probably had over 150.
Were you ever a comic book collector?
No, I never really
No?
collected comics. I read them, but they just, I never put them in the plastic sleeve.
I got you.
I did have some baseball cards and stuff like that, but we never really did the mint condition or the trading. or any
Right.
of that.
Right.
And outside of that,
That's not bad. That's not much.
no, I didn't. I think I had a bottle cap collection. Bottle caps.
cap, really? Just where you can
Yeah.
see what it was?
Yeah, you get to see what it was, and sometimes you'd be out in the woods and you'd find one like all covered in mud, and it'd be like an old beer bottle.
So when
pop
you
top
popped the
or-
top yourself, were you careful not to keep it?
No,
in?
I was
you
looking
just-
for odd ones.
Odd ones,
You know,
okay.
I might have only had 60 or 70, but they were all different.
Okay.
I will tell you what's funny about my beer can collection, though. There was a guy who was a bartender at a place that my mom and dad were members of this club, and Mike, I'll never forget a guy's name was Mike Huddy, and he said, well, I heard that your son's collecting beer cans. And they're like, yeah, he is. He goes, I have some for him. And they told me, I was all excited. He thought I was collecting them to recycle them. So he had
Oh.
been saving all of the aluminum cans for 2 weeks.
But not the kind
and there were
you
like
were looking
six
for.
giant
Right.
bags of Miller
right.
Lite and Bud Light or Budweiser.
Oh, it got to the point for me beer can wise where literally when we would go out of town, we'd have to stop and just purchase. And anybody who were friends of my parents had traveled, my dad from work, we'd ask them, hey,
Yeah.
if you happen to get. Okay, so I'm going to declare myself a loser here because
Okay.
here are all the things I collected.
Dungeons and Dragons dice.
No, I'm not that bad. But it's a list, my friend.
Okay.
Coins,
Okay, no.
stamps,
No.
beer cans,
Yes.
books.
Books.
Like I used to have collections of and I realize I shouldn't tell this. The Hardy Boys,
Oh, I had the Hardy Boys
Star
books.
Trek,
I didn't have that.
Doc Savage,
I didn't have
The
that.
Avenger, and here's the best part. I would purchase them and then not read
not
them.
read them 'cause
I
you
just
don't wanna break
I
the
just collected them, but I had to get
slide.
like Doc Savage. You had like all the different kinds. The Avengers had numbers. Baseball, all kinds of cards, magazines, sports memorabilia, autographs, bottles, Kentucky Derby and Jim Beam Stakes glasses. Bottles like commemorative, like when 7-Up produced one for the
Coca-Cola
Bengals.
or something.
They produced a World Champions one for the Reds.
All right.
And now I still have, I might as well throw albums and CDs into the mix.
Yeah, I had a lot of albums, but they weren't like
Well,
collector's
I
pieces.
I didn't like
played.
collect them, but I have them.
Yeah. Now I will tell you one thing, a collection that I acquired. I did when I worked at Bogart's the first time. Sweet Lou was this older gentleman who was just kind of pals with Al, who owned the business in the building, and he was sort of like the guy who just kind of came in and checked all the locks, and he lived down the street in a little apartment with his wife, and he was probably in his late 70s, early 80s. And he had me come down to help him once, and I went down to his house. He goes, I got a little hole in my kitchen ceiling. Can you help me with that? I walked in, and there was like the equivalent of 2 full panels that had just rotted out, and water was coming down into their kitchen. So we got up there, and we fixed it, and we did the best we could with it till we could get somebody in there to fix it. Well, what he gave me was a collection of, and I want to say it spanned 10 years. It was 3 giant boxes of mint condition Playboy magazines.
Really?
And so I went
that'd
back.
be worth something
Well,
today.
I sold it when I lived in my apartment in Mount Adams. It was a 3rd floor walk up, and I was tired of carrying them everywhere I moved. So I sold the whole collection for like $150, which is stupid because I know there's some magazines there that are probably worth $1,000 or more by themselves. Mint condition.
Wow.
And he, like you, had the subscriptions, and his wife was cool with it, and he never even looked at them. He just put them in order month by month.
Well, they even make like the little holders you can put them in
yep.
for the years. A buddy of mine from high school sold. He had and typically baseball cards, if you don't want to take the time to go through them yourself, when there was a big collectors convention in town, he sold his entire collection for $26,000.
Is that right?
And I would suggest to you, I have as many, if not more. Now I don't know what. Now that was when baseball cards were hot, and it's cyclical. I mean, sometimes it's the old you gotta sell when.
Well, I think a lot of what's hurt the collector's market also is eBay. And
no
Google,
question.
And there's a lot of phonies out there. There's a lot of
there used to be just Topps baseball cards, and then there got to be Fleer, Donruss, Upper Deck. There was a proliferation of them. There was too damn many of them.
Well, and I think now things were hard to find because you had to look for them. Now they're easy to find because they're all online, and you know what I mean. It's not that because I have a Ken Griffey Jr.
That's worth a decent amount of money.
Rated rookie card in the plastic sleeve. I don't even know. I was looking for something for Minifin. I think it was her birth certificate or something. I don't know what. And it was in this little safe, and I forgot I had it. And I asked our buddy Kenny Oz, because he works up at that card shop, what it was worth, and he said some could be worth $30 and some could be worth $1,500. So I'm hoping it's a $1,500.
As you well know,
tuition's a bitch.
I have some strange idiosyncrasies, as you know.
Wait, you?
In high school, I got in trouble because in my desk, I had a cracked thing collection. So literally,
I remember this.
I would just get anything I could get my hands on, and I would just break it and put like a pencil and just. So literally, people used to come to my desk to view my cracked thing collection.
And this wasn't Cracked Magazine.
No.
The competitor to Mad Magazine.
No. This was just
a little thing
it was
from
my
the Fantastic
cracked
Four.
thing collection.
Oh my God! I remember you told me about that years ago.
It was some of the dumbest. Anything
So how
I
many
could
of those
get.
collections do you still have?
All of them.
Do you?
Every
really?
one of them. Yeah.
Really?
Every one of them.
So would you sell? See, and that's the other thing. Because our boy Wildman used to always tell me.
My dad.
He'd say, "Come down to the basement,
Right.
look at all my stuff. My Pete Rose this, and this is Petey's college fund." I'm like, "No, it's not." He goes, "What do you mean? This stuff's all valuable." I said, "Only if you sell it.
My
You're
dad
never
used
gonna
to tell
sell it.
My dad would say the same thing. It's only valuable when somebody else wants it and buys it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Would I sell? I don't know. I mean, it is kind of silly. I just have it in places I really don't look at it. I mean, I
That's
don't.
what I mean. So why still have it? Why not sell it and use the money for something that you would want?
My lovely wife would probably tell you I'm a tad bit of a hoarder. Now I'm not. You're never going to see me on a television episode. It's neatly like put on shelves. But
Well,
I
why
don't
you?
know.
If you don't even look at it, why wouldn't you sell it?
Good question, because I'm an idiot.
There's one other thing I just realized that I do collect. Harley Davidsons. I have a collection of one right now. I have one.
Got ways
And
to go then.
Speaking of things that I have that I should probably sell,
That.
but it's a 2005 15th anniversary Fat Boy. Okay, now keep that in mind. So it is officially 15 years
Yeah.
old. It has 16,000 miles on it. Okay, that's pathetic.
Yeah.
But I got it when I was in Atlanta because I did a lot of charity runs and I did this endorsement where I went through the training class and I got the bike and I paid it off through the endorsement. Now, the thing that I did, and some collectors or people that are really into
Police activity, by the way.
to bikes are, I had it repainted. They took the 15th anniversary commemorative gas tank and the metal off. We put extended fenders and some other things on there, and I had it painted up with all DC superheroes.
Right. It's cool looking.
And it's a cool looking bike.
Yeah, it is
but
cool.
to the point earlier about it's only worth something if somebody wants it.
Right.
Now, if I say to them, okay, here's a 15th anniversary such and such. Well, okay, well, where's the tank? I went back to the dealer looking for it, and they're like, oh, we can't find it, which is bullshit, but whatever. But now it needs to be somebody that wants a Harley, but wants
Right. I get it.
that they want that DC comic book
Yeah.
stuff. Everybody loves looking at it,
Right, but will
but I don't know
anybody
who would buy
right,
it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
You never know, though.
I don't know. You
You don't
never
know
know.
until you try.
you don't know until you try.
Advertising. There's this thing called the internet.
I've not heard of
You
that.
could put it out there.
The internet, you say?
Hey, is anybody playing a drinking game? We don't know.
Oh, we
but I
don't know.
that's
I wonder if our
something
girl,
that,
if Lisa, you know, it's funny. I haven't even looking to see who's watching because I had my cool guy glasses on and now I couldn't see
yeah,
anything.
there's still a little light. Now,
Let's
can
see.
I?
Well, we got a handful of folks tuning in, which we appreciate as always. Chris Schumacher, like the island of lost toys in your desk, he says. Blake said he sold his old baseball card collection at a convention that he went to. Down payment for his first house.
Yeah,
How about that?
How about that?
Sports jerseys, anybody? Hot Wheels? Did you collect Hot Wheels? I might have collected
I
Hot
might, but
Wheels.
not to a degree where I would really. Yeah.
You
have
know
a
what?
ton of them.
Deb Haas is watching. Hello, Deb. Maggie Curtis is watching. Beer cans and Kiss cards. I did collect the Kiss playing cards.
Really didn't even know there were. I did not
Kiss
know
cards?
that.
I think I still have a whole
couldn't-
set of 'em.
I had so many cards I couldn't get anymore.
Holy shit. Carl Owens, 6,000 beer cans been collecting since
6,000?
74.
Are they all different?
No, it's 6,000 of the same can, oddly enough. He built his house out of them. He lives in the Loveland Castle. No, I'm assuming they're different.
But I didn't know there were that many beers.
Well,
6,000.
I think I drank that many this past weekend. Bobbleheads. I know people that collect bobbleheads.
I do
well,
too.
you have some.
I've got some
kind of a
bobbleheads, but I
bobblehead.
wouldn't term it a collection.
Um,
Although you could add that to the mix if you wanted to.
Justin says he likes your shirt. You have really reached the point of I don't give a shit.
Mine or yours?
I don't know who he's talking
yeah, that.
to.
I mean, this is nice. I mean, it's a collared shirt, right?
Oh, it is nice.
All right, now here you go.
Okay.
So, you know, I reside in northern Kentucky, and frankly, I'm glad.
Okay.
So if this occurs, I will never venture into the city of Cincinnati again.
Okay.
And you can save this tape, and you can check me on it. If P.G. Sittenfeld becomes the mayor of Cincinnati, and I don't have to care about this because I live over here, but trust me, I will never voyage into Cincinnati. Let me get this straight. So he's announced his candidate. He's going to run against David Mann. Boy, there's a choice.
Yeah.
Sittenfeld or an 80-year-old. Now, he was part of the Gang of Five, correct? He was.
Yes, he was.
So that's great.
Well,
That's
so
a
how
guy-
he is even able to announce his
Correct.
candidacy.
Very
Yeah.
good point. But I heard this little speech he gave on the news, talking about he wants to make sure that people essentially have access to the following: jobs. Health-
Hang on for a second.
Okay.
Hang on.
He wants to make sure.
I want to write these.
Please write these down.
plot points down.
So he wants to make sure people have, I guess,
So people can
equal access, that everybody has an
Jobs.
opportunity to jobs,
Okay.
to health care,
Health care.
to education,
Ooh, education.
and the last one's the best one, to a grocery store.
A grocery store. Good Lord, what an active, aggressive,
So
out on a
now-
limb sort of platform.
Help me understand, as a bug just flew in my eye. Help me understand.
Well, hopefully you'll get some health care.
So, well, I mean, and you know what? If you need to go to an emergency room and you don't have health care, you know what they'll still do? They'll still treat you.
Mm-hmm.
So education, there are all sorts of programs and financial aid and relief and funds. You can get an education if you choose to get one. And a job, here's a novel concept. Get off your ass and apply for one.
Yeah.
And maybe you could be hired. And a grocery store. I didn't know something was preventing you from going to a grocery store. Except maybe wearing a mask.
You can see that he is very.
What the hell?
He has narrowly defined his target audience.
That's the most
to about
ridiculous.
6 blocks downtown.
That's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing that someone that's supposed to have the vision for an entire city seems to be
Well, he
super
said
serving
something-
and pandering to one particular group in a 6 to 8 block area.
He said something about we need to make sure that this tale of two cities. What are the tale of two cities?
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
it's actually the tale of two cities are his opinions, depending upon what day you catch him.
But again,
'Cause he has flipped multiple
on
times
the streetcar
on a number
Yep.
of things. He has flipped and
Nice.
said, and it's not because he's learned anything. He's really good at this, and I would tell you this is the thing he's best at.
Yeah.
Okay, the wind's blowing this way. Let's go that way.
Mark Mallory talked about, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe he could take the mound on next
Well,
Friday night and heave another.
I got to
one.
be honest with you. When you're yearning for the days of his leadership,
Right. No, and you're
in-
correct.
You're in big trouble.
But anyway,
far more
I-
political than we
I
normally
thought-
would get. But I
right.
agree with you.
Jeez, I just heard that and I thought, what?
No, and you would like to think that there's someone out there that is has a clearer thinker or
But I don't think
little
they
more
want. I don't think
creative.
anybody like that. I don't think they want to do it. I think they're so. I think people who you would want in those kind of positions watch some of the happenings of Cincinnati city councils and the like and say, no way.
Well, and why would David Mann, other than being, I guess, the closest thing we have to a career politician,
Yeah.
why would he want to continue doing
I don't
this?
know.
And what's his name? The mayor? I don't even remember his
John
name.
Cranley.
I mean, it's been pretty clear for 3 years. All he wants is to get to Columbus or beyond.
Right.
He's trying to get to
Well,
Columbus or beyond.
Anyway, sorry, didn't mean
No.
to sidetrack us
Well,
there.
we're
but
going to
I-
miss you, Fred.
Yeah, because I will not go in the immediate confines of downtown. That no way.
Yeah.
a
Becky's
chance.
watching. Steve's watching. Matt. Stacy says anything Kiss Army. You collected. Did you get no Kiss
Not
stuff
really
at all?
Kiss Army stuff. I mean, I collected like the Kiss Alive 2. I had a number of their LPs. I just didn't LP. That's another way to say album back in
Yeah.
the day.
Do you remember what does LP stand for?
Album,
Yes, it does.
record.
It is. It's hieroglyphics for album.
It is.
No, for long playing.
Oh, long playing,
That's what
you're
LP
right.
stands for.
What's EP?
Extended play,
Okay. All right.
I think.
No, I think you're
I think
right.
it is extended play.
So
But
what
you
would
can
a
do
four- does
you
any
can do a
or a four-
5-song EP, which is fewer
Okay.
songs, but
they're
more vinyl.
gotcha.
I don't know. I'm just making it up now.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That seems about right.
You're not going to get an argument from me because I don't know the real answer.
Justin also collected these stupid sticky things that came out of vending machines at the bowling alley. I don't think those were vending machines. I think that was the ladies' room, and you probably shouldn't have been in there putting quarters in that thing.
Condoms used to be a quarter, I think, didn't they?
Condoms used to be
In the
quarter.
bathroom.
Did they?
I think they did.
I don't know. I was too busy in there getting my squirt of Dracar Noir.
Oh, God.
Where you'd go like this, you'd put your
Oh,
quarter
yeah.
and you'd push and it'd shoot
I'll
it
tell
right
you,
in
I'll
your
tell you
eye.
one thing you're not going to see because of COVID. Felipe in the bathroom handing you towels and making sure you got soap, right?
Would you like a mint?
No,
I
thank
would
you.
not.
Well, I'm
the
good.
last thing I want to do in here is eat.
Right, yeah.
Okay? Let's just go ahead
Yeah.
and go. Let me get this straightened out. As soon as I come in and I see you sitting there, I'm not eating anything.
Did you
in
take
here.
the mint into the stall with you, or did you wait till you were on your way
no,
out?
I would take it in. I would eat, and especially if you had the unwrapped ones. It was so
Yeah,
good. I would
right.
savor those.
Pardon me, I'm going to need the breath mint in there with me while I
This is
go in.
Savory.
You might want to get some spray working while you're at it.
Any of that poopery handy there,
Right.
Fred? Oh my
I'm
God!
still
yeah.
waiting for my chili.
I'm gonna.
Speaking of poopery,
I think I'm gonna go into the men's room and have something to eat. Anybody want to go with me? There's a guy in there that's handing out food.
those were select. And by the way, it's a gorgeous night out here, and now the bugs are out.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah, you need to get Gary the landscape out here and
Yeah.
spray.
All right.
What else were we going to talk about?
This is bad. I don't.
You've
I don't-
almost had all your nuts.
I know
This
it.
is
Well,
nice.
that's my dinner. I
Your
had
nut
to eat
mix?
pretzels and nuts because I can't get my damn chili.
All right, so
Yes.
reset. Gamble and Finn, larger than life here at House Gamble, the back 40. We call this area the Oasis, weather permitting. We like to be out here. Should the weather, like it did last week, be very unpredictable, no matter who predicted it.
Not just last week, every day of the
seemed like
last
every
week.
last week. Yeah, we will be inside in the Thunderdome, but we want to take the show out on the road as well.
We do.
And ultimately, that's our goal, is to find places that want us to come out and do the show. Now, there will be a fee associated with it because
Probably
clearly
Wendy's.
the production, yes, the Burlington Wendy's.
We'll be there next
Yeah.
Monday.
Here's
Come
the
on
bad
out and
news for
see
you.
us.
You don't even have to invite us, and we may end up doing a
Right.
show from your
Yeah.
parking lot. But it's and I think it's extortion if we tell people if they don't pay us to come out that we're going to keep talking shit about them.
Well, here's the
That's
deal.
extortion, isn't
We
it?
might arrive and we don't believe in we're okay with the no-knock warrant. So if we knock, we may just
No,
come
you
in.
can't say that in Kentucky, man. You can't do that.
Come on.
All right, so
I'm
anyway,
joking.
you may or may not warrant our appearance on your property, but we would love to come out and do this and invite people out when it's okay for them to go out.
Right.
Because you know
Yeah.
what, here's what I would tell you. The good news is, with regard to, and we'll kind of go back to where we started. The good news with COVID is, Fred, I feel really good about all the new information that I'm getting because it's
Which
the
is
same
what?
information that we got in week 1,
Right.
which we don't know anything.
Right, they
We
don't
don't
know
know what's
anything.
going on. These numbers don't mean anything. They're relative to nothing. This is getting overrun. That's getting overrun, but there are no photos or videos of any of it, so no
Right.
one really knows. You may or may not have it. We're going to test you, but we're going to wait 6 days to tell you whether you have it. So in the meantime, sit at home by yourself. Anybody that tells you they know anything about this that doesn't have MD or DR in front of the name or MD behind it or RN or EMT or whatever doesn't know their ass from a hole in the ground. So quit listening to politicians.
Does that mean?
Only listen to doctors. No one knows. Nobody knows.
I'm not even sure
anything.
some of these people in the medical field know.
I don't
Honest
think
to God.
they do. And as soon as they feel like they've got a handle on part of it, oh, it's morphed. Oh, it's mutated. Oh, it's turned into this. No one knows anything right now. And at some point, we're all going to have to say to ourselves, I'm willing to go out and risk going back to work. I'm going to risk this because not every single person that's getting it is dying from it. And I know you can talk about the numbers and the percentages and all of this stuff, and it sucks to think about this stuff as collateral damage. But until this happens to you or someone you know, these numbers don't mean
No.
anything. They don't mean anything. They're relative to nothing.
Just so you know, I'm staying home until the bird flu is cured. I'm
Well,
not
the
leaving
plague is
home.
coming out of China.
I know.
Did
Well,
you
that's
see that?
Yeah,
that's
I did
the, that's
see
the new
that.
thing.
That's next.
What's not to love about China, by the way? Is there anything that's not that you shouldn't just love about?
Well, I
China?
could fix all of this, but I would never be allowed on any airwave again if I told you how I'd fix it. So we'll just continue.
All right. Well, fair enough. All right. So I guess that was going to lead to my other question: was, are you pissed
Yes.
yet? Because I'm getting pissed because of the testing and the numbers relative to nothing and the fact that nobody really seems to know anything. Now, one thing I'm not pissed about, which I
Yes.
think is fun, and it's going to be a chance for you guys that are watching to be part of the show, is something that we do every week. It's called Show and Tell. And it's a chance for us to take stuff that we have that we think is cool, per our collections or otherwise, show it to you, tell you a little bit about it, and each of us takes a turn. And we've got memorabilia out the bazoo. That
It's
we can-
hard to decide every week, honestly.
Yeah. In fact, the one I have this week is so big I couldn't even bring it in. I brought a picture of it along, but we want to invite you to be part of it. Now, we threw this out here in a very convoluted promo earlier in the week, and it probably made no sense at all because we had hats and sunglasses jumping back and forth over our faces. But we would love for you to email us at gambleandfin. This is GAMBLEANDFIN at gmail.com. A picture of your stuff with a little bit of backstory because we want you to be a part of it. And we are not
How about that?
averse to going full Napoleon Dynamite to get you to do so. Or Mr. Rogers, take your
Whatever
pick.
it takes. You want me to
Yes.
go first? or
Yeah,
you?
why don't
Okay.
you go first? Well, I don't have anything on me, so why don't
Well, I'm
you
going to
go
go
ahead
in
and
reverse
first.
order.
Okay.
So one of my favorite active rock bands is Shinedown.
Okay.
So I've
You
got.
want me to hold this so you can
Yeah, you
point
can
to
hold
it?
that. That'd be great. So I've got that Shinedown concert poster. They kind of drop. Those are the promo photos, if you will. They drop off at the radio station. So that's kind of modern day, signed by the entire band. Very good. And if you're into Shinedown and like some Shinedown stuff, I would encourage you. Brent Smith, the lead singer, and Mike Myers, Zach
Myers.
Zach Myers. He's the guitarist, and they do a lot of touring, the two of them.
Yeah, there's Brent and Zach.
There you go. And when they play, they do some covers and they do some stuff on their own, and they're outstanding together. So I mean, the whole band is really, really good. They're pretty good together too. So that's my most recent. Now we're going way back
All right.
when you could buy. Well, you can still get vinyl, but this.
Well,
so
actually, you can find more vinyl now
you can.
than you could.
You're correct.
20 years ago.
So this 1977?
It's late 70s. Yeah.
This is the first Foreigner album, and it's signed to Tom by every member, and it's got songs like "Cold as Ice." It's got songs everyone's pointing. Here you go. It's got songs like "Cold as Ice," "Feels Like the First Time." If you're into Foreigner, here, this is Foreigner right here. It's an album cover. See it? See the autographs? It's right there. But it's personally signed to me, and I waited in line when the band came to town at Record Theater in Norway.
That's the part that's great. Not
No,
not the arena.
No.
Or whatever. At Record
Theater. But this has a tie to, at the time, Clear Channel, now iHeart. So they were in town, obviously. They were playing at the time US Bank Arena. Their warm-up band was Ambrosia. Really kind of a weird mix.
Yeah, very yacht. What you'd
But-
consider yacht rock today.
So this is when WEBN was over on Erie Avenue in Hyde Park.
Yeah, Hyde's Meadow.
And so they had a radio contest where you could come to the station, and Ambrosia did like an acoustic show, and I won. And we got to go up. It was on the second floor, right?
Yeah.
Hang out while they were playing, obviously inside one of the studios, and they had the radio station. I probably bilked some drinks and got a cheese tray that probably one of the
Nice.
employees to save their job had to cut up from the local market. But yeah, so and then I went to the concert. But
Cool.
the cool part was you could actually go to those stations or to those record stores, Peaches,
Yeah.
Record Theater, and meet and do it.
And a lot of times, what's crazy is people would line up to get because the album would drop
When it would
as
drop,
they say,
correct.
at midnight.
Right.
So Monday night at midnight, Tuesday morning, that's when everything went on sale. So distribution happened over the course of the week. Yeah. This is a really nice area.
Well, I'm working on this is a training for my new show, Burlington PD.
Yeah.
I just got Sophia Bush today to commit to be a part of it, so we're all good.
And what's your character's name going to be?
I'll be
Skank?
Hank. I'll be Hank
You're
Voight.
going to be Skank Voight.
I'll be playing Hank Voight. And
There
I
you
got
go.
Al to come. He rose from the dead, Al
There's
Alinsky.
a better chance of you being Yank Voight.
Hey, whatever it takes. But wasn't that cool?
Especially if Sophia
But that was cool.
Vergara
I mean,
shows
you're
up.
right. I saw Paul Stanley at Kiss, and I've got when Kiss did the four individuals with their face on. I got
Yeah.
Paul Stanley. I can't find the damn thing. It's somewhere in the basement. But that's cool. But you got to meet them.
That you could go back and meet those guys at a record store. It wasn't wait out here. Now you'd have to pay $1,000 just to meet the roadie
Right.
who set up one of their amp stacks.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Shake It Records, which is our favorite record store, they still did I know when
Yeah.
we were back at 96 Rock, we had Silver Sun pickups out there.
Yeah.
They did a few of those, right? But I guess it's just getting hard to do.
Well,
that.
back in the day, I think one of the first places the Black Keys ever played in town was there.
Really?
Yeah, they played there, and then I think it was the Southgate House one before it became the Thompson House.
You can't do any meet and greets today. You'd have to have a mask and stand 10 feet apart and
Yeah.
wear gloves.
Well, trust me, there's a worse chance of you catching something from the band you're meeting than them catching something from you. That'd be my guess. But it was cool that you could go to record stores.
Yeah,
and do that.
very cool.
Mitch Hedberg has a great bit about when he would release a new album. He goes, the great thing about releasing a new album is you go to record stores to sign autographs. If nobody shows up, I pretend like I am shopping.
Okay, well
Because that is how I
works.
shop, behind a table with a pen.
By the way, they did a Rock Legends last night on Access TV was new about metalheads.
Yeah.
Had a lot about Motorhead and Lemmy and AC/DC. Very, very good.
Good stuff. Well, mine.
What do you have?
Similar. It's up on my wall, and it also ties in
Right.
back in my days at EBN. And this was years ago, before Kings Island's Halloween Haunt was called Halloween Haunt. It was called Fear Fest.
Yep, remember
And
that.
Way back in the day, they came to us at EBN and they said, we really want to do something that gets people's attention. What do you think we could do? And we were kicking around some ideas, and we said, do you think we could get a hold of Alice Cooper and have him come out and do a beheading like he does during his show? And we thought, who would be the right person to behead? And it turned out he was right across the hall in Mount Adams. It was Bill Cunningham. So we got a hold of Cunningham.
Okay.
He checked with Penny. I think that's his wife. Penny.
Yes, Penny's
Yep.
his wife, correct.
And she was more than happy for that.
She
to
probably
occur.
drove him out.
Yeah, I think she
Right.
got him there 3 days early,
Right.
just to make sure.
For practice.
And so we had Alice Cooper come in, and this poster that you're seeing now, there's an arrow, a yellow arrow up there, and it's signed by Alice Cooper.
Oh, that's cool.
But if you see the frog he's got the fangs all the way, and you got the Eiffel Tower in the background, the EBN bloody logo, and the big axe. I don't know if you've seen this.
I have seen
at
that.
my
Yes,
house.
I have seen that.
But this was drawn by John Maggart, one of the greatest graphic artists in the world. Not John, he happens to live here in Terrace Park and did so much of the EBN frog artwork early on in the day.
the frog.
We asked him to do the artwork, and I couldn't have been more thrilled with that piece of art.
Yeah, that's
and to have
cool.
Alice sign that, and then I think I don't know if it was Don Helbig at the time, but I think it might have been, had this framed for me, and this
that's
is
cool.
one of the greatest things that I own, because I actually got
That's
a
really
chance
cool.
to sit and talk with. Actually, it was with Rob Calvert, Spam Boy,
Yeah.
at the time, because he also owns a snake, but it was the "we're not worthy" moment almost from Wayne's World. But we got to sat back there and talk to Vincent Furnier. And it was just, he could not have been a more engaging,
he's a great dude.
nice guy. And so that is my show and tell for the week. Now, again, you had a couple of really cool things. I know you've got a whole basement full of other stuff. I've still got plenty to bring in, but we want you guys to get involved. So your chance to show off and tell about it is only an email away. So
Right.
snap a picture, give us a little backstory, and we will use an intro, a little something like this. And maybe you will get lucky, and you will be featured next Monday night.
And maybe, who knows, at some point, maybe we'll have a prize once we get back to where.
Yes.
Well, no, once the
10 spicy nugs.
No, yeah,
that
you
Fred did
you know
not
what?
eat.
You get a large chili from the Burlington Wendy's, and you
Maybe.
know what? You know when it'll come? Never. But in all seriousness,
We also have an axe grinder if you'd like.
the
we can let you have access
idea
to that.
behind this is once there are concerts again in 2024,
Yes.
we want to give you a chance to.
And the reason that we're calling it, show and tell is because we want to have places that still are able to have
Correct.
shows work with us to give tickets
Absolutely.
to you to go to
Yes.
shows, the shows that we so dearly miss. But I think, boy, it's such a nice night out. I think we need to sit down and crack a couple of cold ones
Might be a good idea.
and talk about some ideas
Yeah.
for Thursday. And Thursday, you'll find us 9 to midnight,
Right.
700 WLW. We call it the reality check. This we call larger than live because it feels like it is. And I would say thanks to our crew, as
Absolutely,
always,
yep.
the team behind the scenes that really make it all happen. We just get up here and bump our gums, but they really make it happen. You'll see those names in the credits. I think we've actually left George Vogel.
Well,
in
I
the
think we had him.
credits.
I had him taken off today.
Oh, you
'cause,
took him off?
Come on, man. He hasn't done anything for a couple weeks,
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
true.
time.
Although I
to
did,
go.
I did steal the back half of his bottle of Blanton's. So if he's
Did you
still in
now?
the credits, I'm okay.
I think
with
he
it.
was looking for that, but we'll have more special guests too
Yes,
on
we
coming
will.
Mondays.
Got some
We're
cool
working
ones.
on.
Yeah.
We do have some cool ones lined up. So again, like, share, tell a friend, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all that stuff, and listen on Thursday night.
Yep, Thursday nights, the reality check. This is the larger than live version of it. He's Gamble, I'm Finn, and this has been another edition of the Oasis from the Back 40 at House Gamble of Larger Than Live. Thank you guys for listening. If it wasn't for you, there'd be no need for us. Actually, you're watching. Sorry about that.
Watching, we're sorry about that too.
Well, you'll hear us Thursday. See you next Monday. Peace.